Okay, so Underworld Blood Wars. I liked it. I mean, I have enjoyed all of the previous, Underworlds up to this point anyway, but I think it's slightly better than Awakening. I mean, I still enjoyed Awakening a lot. I know some people weren't as fussed on it, I mean, it's got sort of like mixed opinions, But mixed opinions, always welcome. Um, I think the thing that was really missing from the storyline was Michael's not in it, and very early on in this movie, Michael's not in it as well. So I'm not really spoiling anything, and he's not been in any of the trailers. So I think people understood that he's not there. So in terms of that, that is frustrating. But the thing is, Scott Speedman doesn't want to be in these films anymore, so they don't really have any other you know things to get around it. It has to be you come out the story completely and understandably that's what they've done. But anyway, getting on to the film, I think Kate's great. I mean, it's the role that's defined her. She is Celine. I think the main flaw of this film, and this isn't to do with the enjoyment of the film or anything like that, because it's a good, entertaining sequel, and like I said, it's slightly better than Awakening, which is still gave like a 7.6, so that's a good indication. Um, the studio messed around with how long it took to make this movie get made. Because it's been 5 years since Awakening came out. 5 years, and this whole stupid garbage thing they were doing with oh, let's do a reboot. Oh, with Eva Green, who's a good actress, but she's not Celine. And oh, should we do that or should we do sequel or should we, oh, I don't know what to do. And now finally this movie's come out, and it should have technically come out about 3 years ago. Because generally, if you've got a thing to do a sequel, because that movie ended on a cliffhanger, you know, and that's probably one of the other things that I actually can sort of slightly criticize, that this movie doesn't exactly follow on um, to what Awakening seemed like it was going to do next. Um, but I think it's the progression that I think it had to go in, given the fact that Scott Speedman doesn't want to be attached, because obviously they end it with the cliffhanger of, oh, let's go after Michael, and he's not in the beginning of this movie, and he's not in the entire thing. So, I mean, I guess you could, yeah, like I say, slightly criticize that. I mean, obviously, in the thing with the helicopters coming overhead, I mean, you don't really know what actually happened with that. But putting that to the side, I think the film is a lot of fun. I think it's got great action sequences. I think Kate's amazing in it. Um, I think it's great to see, some of the new characters from Awakening back, like, Theo James and Charles Dance. Um, I do like the new characters, but this isn't a thing to say that they do horrible acting or anything. They are quite unlikable, but I think there's this feeling of well, they are unlikable, but they play it really well. Because there's that new sort of woman who's part of trying to talk to the coven, and the coven she's not a part of. I think her name's Elixir or something like that. And she's got a second name, which I found a little bit slightly confusing. Like later into the movie, they call her by another name, so she's got two names. But putting that to the side, I felt like she had a very sort of dominating presence in the movie, and I really like. There's a scene where Celine has to spar with her sort of lover, and Celine's knocks him on the floor and everything, and they're in this cage, and it kind of reminded me of that Sia music video where they're in the cage, but obviously a lot better than that, because that music video was questionably what the hell is this? And I think that it has a lot of references to the old movies, which is really great, because you don't feel like this is standalone. It connects to every single one practically that's already come, because you see the train station, you see the same mansion, which has seemed to obviously been rebuilt because in the second movie you saw it like on fire and then you never saw it again because obviously we're moving away from that location. Um, and obviously all the aftermath of the first movie. And you have the castle from the second movie, which they make reference to that Celine was there as a young girl, which is shown in the flashbacks in the second movie. So they're very respectful to what's come before, and I think that's really great. And I like that they sort of have these twists and turns of things you don't really expect to happen. And obviously, I can't really go into the spoilers things because that'll, tick people off. But I'm really impressed with what they've done. I mean, I think in Awakening there were like subtle, like references, but they weren't actually saying like by actual name what actually who was killed. I mean, I might have to go back to that movie, but I think it was very sort of subtle. Like I think you saw like Victor's like cloak, or like his thing he wore, and obviously that's from Victor's thing, but don't actually say it. Um, but I think obviously yeah, actually they do say about Victor being killed. Oh yeah, they do say that. I just remember that now. But just when you see certain things like that, they don't go, oh yeah, it's so and so, which is fine. But they also sort of retread that a bit, like treading like same water, like because obviously the that Elixir woman actually hates Celine for killing Victor, and they sort of tried to go back on sort of what they've already done in Awakening. I'm not saying I found it annoying; it just seemed kind of very similar to Charles Dance in the previous movie. Hated Celine for the moment he saw her because oh you killed Victor and blah de blah de blah, and then Thea James was like yeah but we betrayed her. That's the whole reason she did it. And speaking of recap, they do pretty much the same recap you saw in Awakening, apart from they put obviously events to happen in Awakening, so they do put you up to speed. But I think if you're a fan of this series, I don't think you should sort of see it as, oh, well, if someone hasn't seen these movies, they should just go into this one. I don't think you greatly appreciate it as much as someone like me watching it who is a fan of these movies, and I felt like they haven't faltered at all. Obviously, another series that is associated with Screen Gems is Resident Evil, but I feel like that series has faltered quite a lot because the first two I enjoyed a lot, and then the third one was terrible. The fourth one was even worse somehow, and the fifth one was just adequate and nothing more. And I don't think the Underworld series has faltered. I mean, obviously, the thing about Scott Speedman, yeah, well, I can kind of see that, but that's not really their fault. So I can't really see that as like a thing to go like, yeah, this is like Resident Evil in terms of that.